What?
I was gonna say, can we talk about how fucking inconvenient like Spanx are? Cause like I now can't just like unzip my zipper and whip my dick out to piss. Like I have to like.
Why are you wearing Spanx?
Because I'm fat.
Oh.
No,
So when you take them off, do you look like an old time like wrestler? Like what is the top?
They're
look
not.
like?
So they're not all the way. They're just like up
short?
to here. Yeah.
So then again, do you still look like
kind
an old
of.
timey
Yeah,
wrestler?
a little bit.
Aw.
But I look hot in these jeans, so
Right.
I'd fuck me.
I think you do that already.
I don't. Not often enough. Not enough self-love in my life. You're listening to The Good, the Bad, and the Funny, the podcast where every week we tell 3 stories, 1 good, 1 bad, and 1 funny. I'm your host, Jesse McIntyre, and a good fact about me is I have a great head of hair despite my horrible genetics.
I'm your other host, Lynette Thomas, and a bad fact about me, I overtip, but only because I refuse to do math in a high-pressure situation, not because I give a fuck about putting more money in the pockets of people who work in restaurants.
All right. I'm your other host, Stacy Stark. And I guess a funny fact about me is that I am Lynette's baby daddy.
Yeah, all right. That is pretty funny.
I guess so, yeah.
And, like, that was kind of against your will, too. Like, I just kind of hoisted that upon you.
I mean, I asked if I could live in your basement, which I don't. I keep my stuff down there.
Yeah.
But in turn, I take care of your children for you.
You do. You do.
Did they call you Papa?
I wish. That'd be
That would
so
be
funny.
amazing.
What if they did it, but, like, only in our sarcastic way?
Yo.
I mean, that'd be adorable.
Are you guys ready? Because
Yeah,
this is
let's
going to be...
go.
Listen. We're about to take a very long, extensive journey together. And this story has everything, okay?
Oh, is there sex?
There's sex.
Is there drugs?
There's drugs.
Is there
there-
alcohol?
Ultra violence.
And there is.
Is there
and
murder?
There is.
Is there rape?
No.
Oh, wow.
I mean, honestly, yeah, sure. I'm not going to say that in this story, but probably you can imply that
Like-
on this story.
Like David Huggins.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Let's go.
Oh, okay. I want to tell you guys about a man named Jonathan Edema. Do you know who he is?
This sounds incredibly familiar.
I think
Go
that
ahead.
you will know bits and pieces of this story. Jonathan Edema, he goes by Jack.
Great name.
Jack, when he was 12 years old, he saw the movie Green Beret. I had never heard of this movie. I think it's written by some guy named like John Robbins or Jack Robbins or whatever. So anyway, he saw Green Beret and it just like convinced him he wanted to be a Green Beret. Now the film Green Beret was controversial because it's like the only film that made Vietnam seem like we did a good thing there. It's the only Vietnam propaganda.
Like, yeah. State-sponsored film.
When like Roger Ebert was like, that's his name, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He said, this is the worst piece of propaganda I've ever watched.
Holy shit.
He like wrote a scathing review about it. And it's not like Ebert's like an insane liberal guy, right? Like he's
I mean,
pretty
he's
in the middle.
yeah.
Like,
He's
no,
like a neoliberal for sure.
No, honey, what are y'all doing?
No.
With this movie. This inspired Jack to be a Green Beret. He went and joined the military when he was 18. He did become a Green Beret.
Good for him.
Okay.
He set a goal and he reached it. I like that for him.
But his stint in the army was super short-lived because he was caught stealing and then just would do a lot, just was like a crazy person, like a violent, would pick fights, was just very unstable.
As people who want to join the Green Berets are one to do.
So they, in his record from the military, they were like, okay, he has an irrational inclination towards violence. Somebody said he's the most unmotivated, unprofessional, immature man I have ever met.
How are you too violent for the military?
That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy. You like killing too much.
So, were you going to say something?
Just that, like, I feel like you can be too violent if you're killing people, like, maybe, like, on your own side. That might not be a good
Right.
thing.
So, he was honorably discharged and banned from ever enlisting again. So, they honorably discharged him, but was like, please never come back here. Okay.
We'll let you keep your pension if you just promise to not come back.
So, over the next 17 years, I want to say, he just did a string of crimes and just like con man stuff.
Just grifting about.
Yes. So he did all that and was arrested numerous times for violent offenses. Like, he didn't really get caught in any stealing or con artist stuff. But he kept like beating people up for no fucking reason and being like very aggressive. So none of those times he was arrested for these violent offenses did he ever get convicted. He was one of those like survivalist. Like,
like a prepper?
survivalist isn't the right word though.
Was he like a prepper?
No, I'm about to tell you, Nick. Shut
sorry.
up. He was like, survivalist isn't the right word because it's survivalist mixed with like, I secretly want to be in the military. Those kinds of people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like tactical.
Yes,
dudes.
the tactical people. So he was, there's this magazine. So this is in the 90s. There's this magazine called Soldier of Fortune. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know anything about it, but it's a very...
I know Soldier of Fortune.
Military, tactical, like, gun equipment and bulletproof vest and, like, I think urban warfare was like a reoccurring article in the magazine. And he made a lot of contacts while working with, like, by just meeting people with Soldier of Fortune. And he also like lied about his military background during this time. I was like, told everybody that he was way more into the military and he served for a super long time and da 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 da. So due to these contacts and people, they like, it's like little militias, like a network of little militias, and just like guys who are not actively violent but just continue to plan, like if something, if one thug comes up to, like, and that's all they talk about. That's all,
Sure.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, because he lied about like how long he was in the military and pretended he was like an expert in combat or whatever, those Soldier of Fortune people started, trusting him. He opened a counterterrorism training school, and this is before 9/11. This is in the 90s.
Ahead of the curve.
This was in the 90s. He started this military terrorism training school where he would go around and like train police officers and people that like ex-military people, all kinds of people, to fight terrorism if terrorism ever happened upon them. Okay. He also sold paintball gear and was a pioneer in the paintball gear industry at this time.
Okay.
So he was offered a job to train police in Lithuania through contacts through this Soldier of Fortune magazine. Okay, so he got this job in Lithuania to train police. While he was there, he contacted the FBI and Pentagon claiming that he unraveled a nuclear weapons smuggling operation with Russia. And they were like, sure you did, buddy. Whatever. That was probably fake. Okay. So then he comes back to the U.S. in 92. He has this like counterterrorism training school and the paintball thing. His paintball business was like failing at this point in time. All the people that, like all the vendors that he bought paintball gear from, he like ordered a bunch of gear and then just never paid them and defrauded 60 paintball companies or like gear companies out of $250,000.
God damn.
And I was like, that to me that number seems kind of low. 60 companies.
I feel like that seems
only
high.
got 25K. I don't know. What do you think? Or 250K?
Why are there so many paintball companies?
Like
Well,
vendors.
I just feel like, he'd have to like kind of spread it out.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So he got caught and was arrested for defrauding. He was arrested in 94 for defrauding those people. He decided to represent himself in court. He claimed to be the victim of an FBI plot to fuck with him because he revealed the nuclear Russia thing or whatever. The judge told him that his best bet would be to plead insanity, which he did not do. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. While he was in prison, he went on a suing spree. And I mean, he sued. If they put him on a duty he didn't like in jail, he'd be like, I'm suing you, and would sue these people. Like, sued so many people. But he did it so much, he got kind of popular with the people he was in jail with because he was, fucking over, guards and, prison staff that they didn't like.
So wait, so you can just like decide you're gonna just sue people?
Yeah.
Okay. That's, I don't know, that just seems so crazy.
What do you think what do you think the process should be? Like, who should you go through?
I mean, I just feel like if you're in prison and like you don't like something about being in prison, I just feel like what judge is gonna even take that on?
Well, but that's what the judge's job is. Some judges get the lawsuits in front of them and they're like, this is frivolous. I won't go ahead with your case. But you can file as many as you fucking want to.
So did he win anything?
Not then. But we'll get to this. We'll get to that. Okay, so he went on a suing spree. Also, while he was in prison, he tried to, he wrote a bunch of scripts and tried to pitch his life as a movie.
Were any of them good?
I didn't read them, Jesse. I have no idea.
Terrible research.
So he was trying to find somebody who would make his story into a movie. And he found a journalist named Gary Sort. I think his name is Skorka or Sorka. I can't remember. And I'm pretty sure I wrote it down incorrectly, but he is this documentarian worked with the National Geographic. It was like kind of an award-winning documentary dude. Okay, so he was like, oh, I'll tell your fucking story. Now, according to Jack, his story is just way more than what I just told you. Like, he lies to people often and pretends he did all of these things, these fantastical things. Mm-hmm. And none of that, is true. So anyway, the guy agrees to tell dude's story. He was released from prison in 97. He opened up an ultimate pet resort.
I'm sorry, what?
He opened up this business that was like a boarding thing for pets called Ultimate Pet Resort. And he loves animals, this guy, and is very good to animals. And so he's like, we'll never kennel your dog. Like,
this is kind of bumming me out because he was like clearly it sounds like he was pretty good at kenneling animals and also great at the paintball shit. He doesn't need to do all this other stuff.
Well, wait. Just wait. Okay. So, he opens that up. It's a pretty, it's a successful business that he's running with his girlfriend. And
cute.
He has on the website, he has a picture for the fucking bordering thing. The website is a picture of his dog and tells a fantastical tale about his dog as well. Says he jumped out of planes and he did, this.
My dog discovered some nuclear secrets in Russia.
Yeah. That's not really relevant to the story. I just thought that was just very indicative of who this person is. So everything was going well for him. He had a girlfriend. He got out of his legal trouble. His business is booming. And everything is going good for a while until 9/11 happened.
Ooh.
Okay.
Kind of how it turned out for everybody, huh?
Here's what he did. There was a $25 million reward for anyone who killed. So Jack is like, I need to get over to Afghanistan to do my duty as an American. He gets over there by telling a humanitarian aid, someone who runs a humanitarian aid organization in Afghanistan, that they wanted to, that documentarian that was doing the story on his life wanted to do a documentary about humanitarian aid in Afghanistan. And he's like, I'll be there because Like, I have to be, and we want that. The humanitarian aid organization is the documentary. Like, that's what it's about. Like, it's not about me, you know?
Sure.
Whatever. So he convinces the guy who ran the humanitarian aid organization. His name is Ed Artis. He met Artis. Immediately told this, like, they get over to Afghanistan. He meets this humanitarian aid worker, and he immediately tells him, "I want to kill every Afghan I see." Like, immediately tells him that. He immediately tried to make the documentary about him. Artis said that this dude was one of the dumbest assholes he's ever met in his life. He pushed an aid worker out of the way so he could do a photo op instead of the aid worker in front of like some new medical equipment that they brought over to the region. He didn't have anything to do with this, but he pushed her out of the way so he could get the photo op. Artis told Skorka, the documentarian, like, hey, if this Jack dude is going to be part of this documentary, I don't want to be a part of this documentary because I hate him and he sucks.
Because he's a piece of shit.
Right after that conversation, Skorka got injured in Afghanistan and had to return to the US. So the documentarian had to come back to the US. When he was injured, he like broke his leg. It I think shrapnel or something, and like fucked up his leg. But when the injury happened, everybody was like, there were like military people and whatever around him. But like Jack was not there when the injury happened, and somebody called him and told him, and he immediately rushed to the scene and undid all of the dressing from the wounds. Like his wounds had been dressed. Right. He came over, ripped off all of the bandages, and then started redressing it himself. He came with a cameraman, ripped off the bandages, and started to bandage his friend again himself and do photo ops. And then the documentarian left. And so because he left, there's no documentary, right? Artis is like, I don't want anything to do with you. Artis sends a fax to American authorities, and they're like, hey, this guy is running around over here, and he's so stupid, he's going to get somebody killed. And he's so dumb. He's so dumb, and he's so volatile. He's going to get somebody killed. Somebody come and get this man. Nobody comes and gets that man. So he is just left adrift in Afghanistan.
We don't fucking want him.
He is left to his own devices in Afghanistan and immediately tracks down anti-Taliban forces. So like the Iraqis who were fighting against terrorists within Afghanistan.
Like the native counterinsurgents.
The native, exactly. So like the Mujahideen and those. So he meets up with them and starts like, pretending to be of importance, right? To these people who aren't from America and don't know any better. Mm-hmm. And he looks the part. You know what I mean? Like they didn't even question his legitimacy because he looked like every other asshole American that was, was obvious. So that just added to an air of credibility to him. He meets up with these people and he kind of forms contacts with them. Used these people to like help him stage heroic photo ops, basically. God damn. He then got like a group of anti-Taliban fighters together and would charge journalists $1,000. The Afghanis would like escort journalists around, but they would be giving the money to this guy, $1,000 a piece.
God damn.
He created like whenever he would talk to journalists, because the Afghanis that he was getting to take these journalists around, they don't talk to journalists, right? But he does. So then he would just make up shit and tell these journalists all of these things, and the journalists are like, oh well, he's clearly credible because he's like working with all of these,
right? Sure.
And so it's like, this story is interesting because this is not the first time. The manipulation is just so funny to me because it's like, just because he's an American, he has credibility with Afghanis, and because he has credibility with Afghanis who don't know anything, he then has credibility with the American journalists. Like,
that's crazy.
Wild stuff.
I wonder how many other grifters like this we're running
we'll
around.
Get to that because I'm the way that the story plays out, it's like there had to have been so many.
Yeah, definitely.
He during this time appeared in over 1,000 newspapers in America and 250 news shows. And he was a correspondent for
Fox News, of
Fox
course.
News, baby.
Gotta love it, Sean Hannity.
Okay.
That's what my grandparents watched.
My
They
boy
lived by
Bill
it.
O'Reilly.
What a terrible time for journalism.
Never forget.
And we've never recovered. Okay.
Wait, whoa, back up. A terrible time for journalism was post 9/11. I feel like that's when things got real. You know
I mean,
what
a terrible time
a
for
terrible time
Americans.
for-
Great time for media companies to make money.
Yeah, I
hand
was
over
going to say,
fist.
when we made news not news anymore, it was because of it was 9/11.
Not news anymore. What
Like,
do you mean by that?
It became entertainment.
entertainment, a shit show. People just arguing at each other.
Because 9/11 was so insane that like anything else that they put out could never measure up to it.
No, that's not it.
They were also already
It's like there's propaganda because we're fighting a war that's unpopular and uncalled for. So that opens up the door for opportunists to use the news to do propaganda so we can prop up this illegitimate war. And 9/11 was so crazy, people wanted to know what was going on. Is there going to be another terrorist attack? So then we got the 24-hour news cycle because people, I mean, do you remember like the threat levels? Like today we're in threat level orange. Like people were glued to the news because everybody was scared, and they profited off of that. And credibility and journalistic standards, because if you're trying to fill 24 hours of news,
that's what it is.
Standards
It's
are going to
24-hour
lower
cycle.
itself. Like you're not going to be a good journalist anymore because you have to keep producing more news. So it's like, even if something's not accurate, even if somebody's not credible, you still got time to fill. So you're going to loosen your standards a little. So now I need y'all to follow how this man duped everyone. Like he cons his way over to Afghanistan, but like builds relationship with Afghani people because they don't understand. They just assume he has credibility. Right. And then because they think he has credibility, journalists think he has credibility. Then he takes that and he creates like credibility back inside the United States by going on all these television appearances and everything. And so like, I don't know, feeds off of each other because
like
it was such a shit show of a time. This could happen, right? And I will say the reason why he got away with it is that America used contractors and private military corporations. So any American that was in Afghanistan with like camouflage on and tactical, like those sunglasses or whatever, they just assumed, okay, that's a private military guy because there was a ton of them.
Because why else would you fucking be there?
And because that, they like the people over there they would just stay away from him for the most part. You know what I mean? So it was just easy for him to
They didn't know what a dumb cunt he was. Oh, damn.
Okay, so
Damn.
war journalists at that time would just make fun of him though because they knew he was full of shit.
Yeah,
because they've been here before, you know.
For sure.
But they would call him Mr. Potato Head, and
Wait, why?
and they called him that because they're like, depending on who he's trying to con and lie to, he's either Secret Service or he's from the CIA or he's,
He's just swapping out the pieces of his face.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so good.
I thought that was good. I was like, oh, that's so clever, war journalist.
Yeah. You should try stand-up war journalists. That's very funny.
He comes to the hotel that all the journalists that are in Afghanistan stay at. And he would like to go in there and just like regale them with like false stories and shit that didn't happen. Well, one day he went in there and he was like, he said, I have a box of tapes showing like Taliban training. They're like Taliban training videos. Do you guys remember during 9/11, all that footage?
Yeah.
Okay. It is believed, heavily implied, that now that we know all that we know, that he just used the people that was like the Afghans he knew to just stage these fucking videos that we have seen over and we saw all throughout. Do you get what I'm? Do you understand the impact of this?
Yeah.
So, okay.
This was like a huge this was a huge piece of like this was a huge argument for why it was justified that we were there in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. He goes to these journalists and he's like, look, bid for rights to these videos. CBS won the bid. Dan Rather interviews him. Please go back and watch this Dan Rather interview. Because I think Dan Rather knows he's full of shit. Like, Dan Rather keeps like making these little faces or whatever. But anyway, aside from the tapes, what he does in this interview is like make up stories about how violent the Taliban are, what they're doing, like that they're, kidnapping people. And I'm not saying that wasn't happening, but I'm saying that nigga didn't know that shit was happening.
Right.
But he went on the news, told all of these stories. And because he staged these videos, that added another layer of legitimacy. After this happened, his mom died. So he came back to the United States and stayed for 2 years. During that time, he sued a fuck ton of people, like a crazy amount of people. But one of the people that he sued was Steven Spielberg. Because Steven Spielberg made the movie Peacemaker, and he was convinced that movie was about him. I've never seen Peacemaker, and there are bits.
The scripts he wrote.
Yes, that's what he's saying. That's what he's claiming.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he had money, right? And also just had a bunch of like tactical people stuff. Like one of his cars was being repossessed. So this repo company, which is just a dad and his son, went to go repossess his vehicle, and like he immediately just goes military combative on them. He doesn't do anything to hurt them, just tries to intimidate them. He's like, you're not taking my cars. I think they ended up getting the car, but after that he went to these people's house, and the niece, who was 5, answered the door, and he was pretending to be a pizza man, and he threw a pizza box at this child and was like, "You're served," like, and like served papers within a fucking pizza box, dude.
What a hack!
And then repeated to stalk them and serve them papers every single day for like a year.
Was it all in pizza boxes?
It was not all in pizza boxes, but
sometimes they were in sandwich
bags. They basically said like he would like show up to their business and like four blacked out SUVs with like his goons or whatever, God. And like would stalk these people just because they were doing their job. And it's like, the money that you're taking to sue all these damn people, pay it for the car. Like, why didn't you just pay your fucking car note?
Like a
psycho.
Why didn't he just pay for his car?
That's what I'm saying. Okay. So Robin Moore was the person who wrote the book Green Beret. Robin Moore also was into that Soldier of Fortune magazine and was part of that circle. So him and Jack were friends, had been friends. At this point in Jack's life, Robin Moore was like, he wants to write a book about the people that are going over there and hunting for bin Laden. He just tells him that. And then Jack is like, that's all you had to say. Like, my favorite author, you're going to write a book about me
I've been
instead.
laying in bed at night imagining this.
Yeah, like he came, for sure. Robin Moore only ended up writing a few pages of the book, and the rest of the book was written exclusively.
Shut the fuck up.
By Jack, okay? He, in the back of this book, which becomes a bestseller because, of course it was post 9/11 America. Yes, it did. It became a bestseller.
What was it called?
It was called Hunt for Bin Laden.
I am positive my father has read that book.
So he basically writes the book, and in the back of the book, he lists charities people can donate to support Special Forces operative, and they all route to his P.O. box.
Nice.
Yeah.
I should do that.
What, fraud?
Yeah.
Okay, so he ends up being charged with mail fraud, but I don't think he went to jail for that.
That's insane.
The book was like a bestseller and received a lot of praise, but it received noticeable criticism, loud and noticeable criticism from the humanitarian worker who was over there and whatever, but also the people in the special forces, because this book is supposed to be about the special forces.
not about Jack jerk
well,
off or whatever his name is.
Which he is not, but claims to be.
Right.
When Robin Moore went to write this book, he interviewed extensively actual special forces members. But so when the book came out, and it just ended up being Jack's life story, these special forces members are like, one, he's fucking full of shit, and two, my story is not being told because this fucking asshole.
Well, I want to read the original. Like, that sounds almost kind of interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if they end up having kind of a contentious relationship later. I wonder if Robin Moore ever made the actual book he wanted to make, or if he's like released his the notes from his interviewing.
This is the dude who wrote Green Beret, though, so it would have a distinct conservative pro-war.
Probably, but I would still like to hear the actual stories from actual
accounts,
like special forces members over there. So he got mad. This is why they have a contentious relationship. He got mad about people scrutinizing the book and just sued everyone. sued everyone that criticized him. But he also sued Robin Moore, because I think Robin Moore was a little annoyed when the book came out, and his publishing company and his daughter. So anyway, after this, he goes back to Afghanistan. He has money now from all of these TV appearances, and because that book was popular, and because he stole charity money.
Right.
He has a lot of money. He goes to Kabul. How do you spell it?
Kabul?
Yeah. He goes there and immediately buys property, right? He claims that it's a rug business, and gives it puts up, which is like so on the nose.
Yeah, for sure.
You're in Afghanistan and you start a rug business?
Yeah, this is terrible.
You fucking
what
dumbass.
an idiot.
Ugh. So anyway, he claims
I'm
it's a
move
rug.
to New York and start a bodega. What a fucking moron.
He claims it's a rug business, and puts up like a logo for the business or whatever. But what it actually was he actually called it the Honeycomb Hideout, and he hired Afghans and bought uniforms and created this Task Force Saber 7.
That sounds badass. I don't know what you're talking about.
So he created Task Force Saber 7. He bought his paramilitary outfit, he bought them outfits and weapons and whatever that they kept at the Honeycomb Hideout. So he started trying to hunt for Bin Laden again, and claimed to have like a lot of intelligence about, like he would say like, oh, I have this secret, like he would call the FBI and be like, oh, I have this information, this guy, he works for him, like just shit, fingering people and being like whatever. So he would go to the CIA and they were clearly like, Jesus, not again, dude. And so you need to go talk to the FBI. And then he'd call the FBI and they'd be like, oh, okay, we're taking this very seriously. He figured he was just going to do things for himself, basically. Appealing to the authorities was getting him nowhere. He's just going to have to be that guy that kills terrorists.
Yeah, he's going to have to take matters into his own hands.
He ended up turning a guy in over to the FBI for terrorism. And the FBI released him after like 2 months because it was bullshit and he didn't do anything. He claimed to have intelligence that there was this bus coming, and the bus... there was a terrorist on the bus who had a bomb on, and he was going to blow up the bus, okay? Him and his paramilitary organization go out and go to stop this bus, make everybody get off the bus, put guns in everybody's faces. He picks a dude. He's like, that's the guy that I said was a terrorist. He puts a black bag over this man's head. He puts him in the back of a van, and they transferred him to the Honeycomb Hideout, okay? They interrogate They interrogate this guy after interrogation, right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I do know about like a terrorist, and like points out this taxi driver, and he's like, yeah, he's a terrorist or whatever. They go to get this taxi driver, bring him back to the Honeycomb Hideout, interrogate him a whole bunch. So they searched his car. They found bombs or bomb residue, okay? Under investigation, the taxi driver guy tells Jack that, yes, I am a terrorist, and I was going to, I was planning on bombing this Afghani Supreme Court officer or something, okay? So then they keep that guy and continue to, just like keep him prisoner there. Jack tells this Afghani official that he stopped a terrorist plot against him. And so the guy thanked him and gave him his personal security force. He was like, Jack, you've done such a good thing for our country.
They gave this man his own military?
His security force. I don't know how big it was, but
even one extra guy with a gun.
When we're talking about somebody doing shit like this, you're again like just adding to his credibility. He proceeds to continue to use those forces and do more raids on people, accusing them of terrorists, taking people back to the Honeycomb hideout, and having his way with them.
Wait, what? Having his way with them.
We'll get to that too. Oh. I have theories. Okay, whatever. We'll get to it. Because he was doing all of this and pretending as if he was doing something good and stopping actual credible terrorist attacks from happening against Afghani, higher ups. Mm-hmm. He's now in good with these higher ups, right? And these higher ups are working with the United States military. He's now credible with the United States military. Jack tells Afghanis that another Supreme Court official in Afghan is a terrorist. And then our military goes and confiscates this guy's car and says, oh, we found traces of bomb stuff in there.
Explosive residue.
Right. So Jack goes and arrests this Supreme Court official. But that ends up...
this was the Supreme Court official that they're accusing of being...
Yeah, this is another Supreme Court official, but yes,
a Supreme Court official nonetheless.
A Supreme Court official in Afghanistan. But that ends up biting him in the butt because immediately when he does that, the Afghanis are like, who the fuck are you? What are you doing?
Right.
They hang up wanted notices all around Afghanistan for Jack. He gets arrested in Afghanistan and the rest of Sable Task 7 or whatever the fuck. Afghanis go into the compound and they find 8 Afghani people, some hung up by their feet, who had clearly been tortured, bloody clothes, all types of shit.
Wait, were they dead?
No.
Oh.
They were alive.
Yikes.
That's somehow worse.
So so they find these people and they bring them out. Obviously, they didn't leave them.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see you later. Have a nice time.
They bring them out. They take them. So the Afghani government takes these people who have just survived torture at the hands of this fucking guy, and they give them to the FBI, who immediately clears all 8 individuals that were at this fucking compound.
What does that mean? Clears them?
Like they were innocent.
They're innocent.
Oh.
Everything was made up.
Even the taxi driver?
So listen to me. That taxi driver, the only reason that guy identified him is because that's the only person he could think of.
While he was being tortured?
Who he had been friends with since he was a child.
Damn.
The United States clears all of the people that Jack has been torturing. The Afghan government sentences everybody in that house. So they were charged with kidnap, torture, and having a private prison. He's like, well, we were working with the United States government. We were working with the Pentagon and FBI.
Private prisons are totally legal there.
Is what he tells them. So his lawyer is over here in the United States, spinning a very interesting tale. So his lawyer is over here being like, listen, we need to go get them and help them out because Afghani government was just created and their legal system doesn't really exist. So there's no way these Americans are going to get a free trial. America decides to be like, we'll just let Afghan handle it, because this was directly after news came out about Abu
Ghraib.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to say grabby.
That's how George W. Bush said it, and he got dunked on.
So yeah, it was right after that came out, and they were like, we literally cannot have the exact same story come out again, because they could have brought them over here and tried them for what they did here,
right? But then it would be in the
then
news.
They would be like, oh my god, the U.S. has a torture problem. The military gets on the news and they're like, hey, we've never worked with Jack. The guy's crazy. We've never worked with him. They did a whole fucking press conference, right?
Damn.
After Jack gets arrested and claims he was working with the FBI came to his compound and seized all of his documents. And so then Jack was like, see, I told you I was working with them, because they seized all the documents. They did end up returning the documents to him. So then Jack was able to say, they took all the documents that proved that I was working with them. He was not working with them. However, the U.S. government did accept like prisoners from him, and they were at least knowledgeable. They knew he was doing stuff, but they looked at him as like a pest. Like, this dude just keeps calling all the time or whatever. They would like take his phone calls and humor him, but that does not mean that they were actively working,
right,
you know, with him. But even that is embarrassing, because y'all know this man is out here with the fucking private prison fucking torturing people.
They're definitely still condoning his actions to some degree. Yes.
Exactly. He pretends like it was sanctioned. Like, they had me go do this.
They told me to do it.
That's not the case. But the government is still culpable for
100%.
What the fuck that man was doing over there. The American government distanced themselves from him. But the thing is, he had gained credibility with Afghani higher up. So he did end up being sentenced to prison to 10 years. Him and the other 2 Americans were sentenced to like 10 years, and like some other, and like I think the Afghanis were like 5 years.
Sure.
They did an interview with him in his Afghani prison.
What year was this? Do you know? Do you have it written down?
I don't know. It had to be like 2005.
Oh, so he's like out now, though.
Well, like it had to even be before that. Yeah. Like, I don't know, 2003. Probably. So he did get sentenced, but they did an interview with him in this Afghani prison, and he had like a wing of a prison that looked like a hotel is basically what it was. He had assistants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like there was just alcohol. He was running blogs during this time and like telling all of his stories and all that. So during this time while he was in prison, he started suing everybody again, sued everybody in the military and sued everybody like that distanced them. So like just sued him. Okay. We're going to get to Penny. I find this part to be the most interesting piece of this story. And I guess I should warn listeners that throughout me telling this part of the story, I'm going to make character judgments against someone who is truly a victim. But I do think it matters in the context of what occurs. So let's back up a couple of years. Right before dude was sentenced, there was media coverage, and a lot of people were sympathizing with this man because, like I said, there's so many private military organizations, and a lot of them that got in trouble, and a lot of them our government distanced themselves from. And even though this guy was literally not part of any legitimate organization, 9/11 America was so patriotic and was so racist and literally wanted to just go over there and just kill brown people. Like they had such a boner for it.
So Fox sold it specifically as like a revenge fantasy.
Absolutely.
You know?
And so he's on the news a lot, and he has like people are supportive and sympathetic to this guy. And this is where his eventual wife Penny comes into the story. When he gets sentenced, and he, like I said, was running a lot of blogs and da-da-da. She sees what's happening on the news. And the documentary that I watched about it, she's being interviewed in this documentary. And Penny says, like, I saw him on the news, and I'm quoting her saying, and I felt so bad for him because, he's probably over there getting tortured, and he's being a good American. And he went over there to do what all of us wanted to do, is what she said. Okay.
So she is also racist and xenophobic.
I want to say that, that's problematic.
Yeah, for sure.
That's problematic that's what you took away from that. And of course, there's propaganda in America. And absolutely, she was not aware of what actually happened. To her, it just looks like some guy that was over there fighting terrorism is now being tortured because even though the Afghani government was on our side, to people who with this thought process, anybody over there is a bad guy. Like the people who prosecuted him were not anti-American or fighting America, but in Americans' minds they were. So anyway, whatever.
Just the narrative they were sold,
Right. So she feels sympathetic towards him, and she joins this group of people, of women specifically, who feel sympathetic towards him, and they get care packages together to send over to him. And then Penny eventually writes to them. They become pen pals. Da 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 da. And then it turns romantic, and they fall in love. He was released in 2007. He did not serve all of his sentence. I absolutely loved Penny talking about her meeting him, because he gets out of prison. They meet, and she's like, and I saw him. I was so excited, and I was so in love, and I saw him at the airport, and she was like, and I looked at him, and he would write me letters saying that people called him short, but he's not actually short. And she's like, but he was. He was very short. So they went on this date. They were staying in this hotel room, and they went on a date. They were out of the hotel room, and she was like, oh shit, I left my keys. And he scaled the building.
Shut the fuck up.
He scaled the building to go and get
I bet she was so wet.
No, so she was like, I was horrified and embarrassed, and she's like, and I just met this man, but people see him scaling this building, and they're like, is that your husband or your boyfriend or whatever? And she's like, oh, I don't know.
Much like the CIA.
That's so crazy.
So, and then he gets the keys and then goes back out the window and
Bro, elevators exist.
Scale it back down. So anyway, whoever was questioning her about it was she's like, why is he doing that? Is the elevator she was basically does someone need to be rescued? What's happening? And she's like, oh, I left my keys. I left my keys in there. And the lady was like, why didn't he just go to the front desk? And she's like, I don't know.
That would have been the right course of action.
He gets done off this building, and everyone is like, this is the cringiest behavior I've ever seen. But he thinks and is gesturing at people as if it was so cool.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody's
he's doing the
jealous
finger guns hey.
He rented a condo in America, and then he was immediately arrested for selling drugs and kicked out of the condo. So he's like, okay, well, we can't live in the United States anymore. So you got to figure out where we can both live. So they decided upon Mexico, or they buy deep in the Mexican jungle this property, basically this compound, this huge mansion type dealy. He would do survival drills when they lived there, and wake Penny up in the middle of the night, and he's clearly paranoid. There's also a video of him, and if you want to, anybody, just look this video up. It's a video that he posted himself online of him studying the blade and making one of those cringy
Sick.
Backyard karate sword videos or whatever the fuck. He ends up starting up a boat tour business that he based on Jack Sparrow, and would do boat tours pretending to be Jack Sparrow. And this began his pirate era.
Love that.
So wait, did he look anything like Johnny Depp?
No.
So it wasn't good.
No, it was not.
To be
That's
fair,
really
at
disappointing.
the time, Pirates of the Caribbean was popping off.
Yeah,
it was wild.
But
you can't try to pretend to be Jack Sparrow if you can't pull it off.
Right, exactly.
I don't think he's in his rational mind at this point.
So he started hoisting pirate stuff all up over his like little mansion or
just
whatever.
like Jolly Rogers and shit.
And then decides to change his name. And like he doesn't legally change his name, but like he does when applying for like business stuff. He uses the name. What do you think it is? Guess.
Jack Sparrow?
No, it's Steve Cardinal.
Johnny Cardinal?
He uses the name Jack Black, but
that's an actual person.
But he doesn't know that. Now,
That's
how
crazy.
do you build a business surrounded on Jack Sparrow, but you don't know who Jack Black is?
He's been in Afghanistan for so long, he hasn't seen School of Rock yet.
And
I was literally just going to say, how have you not seen the movie School of Rock?
Exactly. But he chose the name because to him it sounded like a cool pirate name.
It does kind of
And
sound
I was
like a
like,
cool
you
pirate
damn
name.
right. At this point, Jack's father is about to die, and he really, really wants all of his
Stuff.
Oh, of course he does.
There is a building that his dad had bought him. It was like a row of like 3 business fronts, right? One he just like lived in for a while when he was running that pet resort business. And then next door was the pet resort, and then there was like something for like his gear or some shit, right? So, but whatever, the building stayed in his dad's name because his dad was like, you're really all over the place all the time, and like I want you to prosper or whatever, but like I will keep the real. I'll just keep that in my name so you don't fuck it up. He really wanted his dad to like sign that over to him before he died. But like with all of the legal stuff and his current reputation, his dad was like,
oh, fuck no.
No,
Those assets would definitely be seized. Like,
I refuse to do it. So what he did was marry Penny so he could put all the stuff in her name. His dad wouldn't sign it over to him before he died, but then he died. And so he just inherited it anyway, but put it all in Penny's name, right? So that property that I was talking about, which is one of the, like, there are several different properties, but this specific one, where the pet resort used to be, he rented it out to a church. And then basically it was like the building was run down. He rented it out to a church, and he was basically like, they're going to fix it all up, and then I'm going to evict them and then have a building.
That's kind of based.
That's not based. I mean, I hate churches, but honestly, on the ground level, I go back and forth because I don't like the institution. But honestly, they do a lot of outreach, and they harbor immigrants. Like, churches do good stuff.
That's
sometimes.
fair. All right.
Okay.
Sure.
At this time, he just started doing like a lot of drugs, and it was just like making him more and more and more paranoid. Penny was there, and she's like, and then he just started like hanging out with people, all these drug people, and like partying and da 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 da. He stopped fucking Penny and started fucking a college twink and a trans woman.
Wait, excuse me? Like gay doing it?
Mm-hmm. So wow. Penny was like, oh, he's gay, and I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go back to the United States. So she does go back to the United States. Now,
wait,
again,
I just have to I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Him being gay, that's like a huge twist on this whole thing.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Didn't expect
I don't like
that.
gay for evil, though.
No. But I just didn't expect it.
Mm-hmm. She leaves, and I find it interesting. Like I said, I'm going to say some mean things, but I find it very interesting that Penny didn't really like a lot of the things he did. He scaled a building. It embarrassed her. She didn't like the whole church. Like, she tells of all of these things that were like crazy, but she didn't like him suing everybody. She didn't like all of these things. But the thing that made her leave
was him being
gay.
Yeah, that's very telling.
Oh, yikes.
Made her leave the...
And this is post 9/11, so this was like 2005?
It was around 2008.
2008.
Yeah.
Wow, what a cunt.
So she leaves, and like I said, he was also getting very paranoid. He was making her do all these drills she didn't like. He was doing all these drugs she didn't like. That there's a lot of stuff that she did not like.
Like so much abusive, erratic behavior.
And she stayed by his side until she found out he was gay.
And that's where she drew the line.
That's where she drew the line.
That's so dumb.
Wait,
can I just say, was it maybe the infidelity that bothered her?
Here's my thing. In the documentary, the way she says it is that I found out he was gay, and I thought I don't belong here anymore because he doesn't want me anymore.
I can actually identify with that as a lesbian.
Absolutely.
Girls who want to fuck dudes, I don't want to have anything to do with that.
I absolutely agree. But I feel like if it was a woman, because he's talked her into so many different things, right? I just believe that if it was a woman, she would have just opened up their like she would have acquiesced to that because she's done that so much. And the way she says it, it's specifically because he's gay. Like, that's why.
Okay.
She left and she made it back to the United States. And when she touched down in the United States, Jack has a severe car accident and he fucks himself up.
Oh no, how?
He broken clavicle, broken ribs. He fucks up his leg. He fractures his skull. Like, he is fucked up. and in the hospital, and he calls her, like, he thought he was gonna die. There's a phone call recording of him calling his lawyer and, like, in the hospital bed, like, I'm gonna die, I need you to do da da da, leave everything to Penny, and he says tell Penny she was right about everything.
Like what?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's probably about some gay stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't know. He calls her to come back to take care of him. And she comes back and takes care of him. He gets addicted to the pain medication. Mm-hmm. And he's also doing heroin. And he's also doing a lot of cocaine. And he's also drinking heavily. And his paranoia, again, is going through the roof. And then she's taking care of him, and she begins to get sick, like ill. She's like, I think I'm gonna get tested for HIV. He says, I think I should too.
Oh shit.
And they both tested positive. The doctor that they saw was like, listen, you have a chance, Penny, of getting better. He really does not. It's bad.
Wait, why doesn't he have a chance?
I assume that it had gone to AIDS at that point. And so they were like, you can treat HIV.
Right.
You know.
Can I just say this story is not good for the gays?
Yeah, you guys really should tighten up your ranks.
Yeah,
dude.
for sure.
Yeah.
You need to be more selective of who you let into your club.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like y'all should have like a committee or something, you know?
Invite only.
Okay, so she leaves again to go and get treatment in the United States, and she was like, I'm gonna stay gone, and she joins a support group, and it really helped her out. But Jack is still like calling her and stuff all of the time, and he told her that he wanted her to come back, and she is like, everybody in the support group is like, do not, like, bitch, listen to yourself. Don't go back down there. And she was like, oh, I left my dog. So she goes back.
It is a very cute dog.
It is. So she goes back, and she says when she goes in there, like, the house is disgusting. She talks to, the maids that were there, and they were like, he's still doing orgies. And so Penny's like, I don't even know how many people, because like, not only are they doing the sex stuff, they're also doing a lot of heroin and needle stuff. So like,
okay, I'm sorry. This is what, like 2008, 2010. I feel like people should know better by now.
He did know better. He doesn't give a fuck.
But like the
height
other
of the
people,
opioid epidemic.
But like the other people involved, I feel like they should know better.
Okay, I mean, I think that Jack had a lot of money, and he surrounded himself with a vulnerable community of people and drug addicts, and I don't think that was the thing that they. I don't even know if and also part of it is Penny says, like, he's like, I hope you're not telling anyone about your diagnosis. Like, how many people did you tell? So I think that, like, he was actively keeping it a secret, and
I mean, I think it's something you don't need to tell everyone, but you need to tell people you're going to be sexually involved with,
or doing intravenous drugs with.
Are you saying that he should have had better? Like, he should have done better?
I'm saying, I don't know.
Because since birth, I believe.
All I'm saying is that he shouldn't be telling her not to tell anyone, because if she be fucking anyone, then she should tell them.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree. So she was pretty disgusted, and right then and there just was like, I came back here to get my dog and to murder this man.
Oh.
Like, so she grabbed a gun and like and pointed at his head, but did not pull the trigger fast enough. So he turns around and starts beating the shit out of her, smashes her head against the floor.
Why wouldn't she just shoot him if he was coming at her?
I know.
She didn't have special forces training.
She smashes his head against the floor. He smashes her head against the floor. He like drags her into the room and like punches her in the face, like just like really hurts this woman. And leaves her there on the floor. So she calls her friend and she's like, he's gonna fucking kill me. Please call the embassy. And her friend is like, I will do that.
Wait, how does she get away from him?
He left her on the like he beat her pretty severely and then left her on the floor.
And then she calls her friend.
And then she called her friend.
Okay.
So So a day goes by and he legitimately tortures this woman, pours buckets and buckets and buckets of water on her head. I repeatedly ask her who she's working for.
He's like waterboarding her.
Like waterboarding her. Ask her who are you working with?
Okay, but like why is she still with him though? That's my question.
Well, she's captive
now. Like she can't leave. That's
what
what
she called her friend.
To call the embassy. What was her friend gonna do?
I don't.
Like
I
the
don't
embassy.
know.
The embassy. It takes them a minute. You know what I mean? So he uses rats to torture her. He puts a bag on her head with rats in it. They started chewing her head. She said she's very afraid. She was already had a phobia, but like and whatever.
Straight.
They were chewing. They were like chewing on her head that he had just bashed against the floor.
I don't like the story anymore.
Did you like it before?
I mean, there have been moments.
It
was at least this is just sad. Before it was entertaining.
I don't think it was entertaining. I think it's tragic. He tortures her. He injects her with like sedatives. And she was just like, loopy or whatever.
It was definitely heroin.
And
right?
it wasn't heroin.
It wasn't.
No,
for sure?
it was like a legitimate sedative. The embassy, remember, 2 representatives from the embassy come, and Jack was like, "You need to go talk to them," but he's standing behind her, like with a gun in his like pocket. And so then they question her, and they're like, like, "Are you okay?" And she can't say anything because she's like, he said he would kill her and the people if she said anything, and she's like, I absolutely believe that, and I do too. He probably would have. So she doesn't say anything, but when after she says that everything's okay, she reaches out, like one of them reaches out their hand to like shake her hand, and she like digs her nails into his arm to kind of alert him of what's going on. And he gives her a hug. Like when she does this, he gives her a hug. And then Jack is like, what's going on? And like, whatever. And she was like, in that moment, I believed like these people were going to come back and rescue me. Like, but 5 days go by and nobody comes for Penny. And she's continuously being tortured and asked like, who are you working for? Especially after the embassy guys come, because now he's even more paranoid because people came, So he's like, yeah, who are you working for? Da, da, da. And she's like, I'm not working for anyone. I wanted to kill you because you gave me fucking HIV, you dumb shit.
Right.
Like, I'm not working for anyone. I want to kill you for personal reasons. So eventually she said she hears a familiar voice, and it's like their plumber that they always call. They came to the house for a house call, and he sees her and they talk, and he's like, yeah, you look in bad shape. Like, what's going on? And like, why don't you, let's go leave and get medical attention. She's like, I'm being held prisoner. And he's like, I'm going to get you out of here. Like, he comes back, and the other house staff work to distract Jack while he goes to get Penny. And he's like, come on, we gotta go. And she's like, I gotta get my dog. And he's like, bitch, you need to leave. Like, what are you talking about? Fuck the dog. Like, let's get out of here.
Sure.
So he eventually like gets her out, drops her off at a hotel, was like, use a fake name, whatever. And then she calls the embassy, and the embassy came to escort her out of the country, and she pressed charges on him. So she gets back to the United States, and he gets put on house arrest.
Wait, hang on. What country were they in before?
Mexico.
Right. Okay.
So he gets he learns he's about to be put on house arrest, and he begins a harassment campaign against her. He calls her every single day. He like stalks her friends and family. He goes onto his blogs and tells his followers about it.
His blogs are still active at this point. Damn.
He tells his followers about it. They start posting revenge porn of Penny, and starting other blogs just to harass this woman. All of this is happening. They get into a battle about because all of his business stuff is in Penny's name. So they get into a battle because she has all of his assets. So they get in a legal battle. She ends up giving the property with the church in it just to the church. She just signed it over to them. Like, good for you, Penny.
That's
good for
awesome.
You. But while she's telling all of this, she's like, she clearly still loved this man, like was still in love with this man, and says it. So they talk.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is absolutely insane.
Yes. And they consistently talked throughout this time. Like, he still wanted her to come back. And she's like, we're kind of too far gone, but, whatever. I'll still talk to you all the time. But in 2012, she gets a phone call, like, from him, and she could just tell, like, he was about to die.
Right.
And he knew it. And so they talked one last time, and he told her that he was sorry. And she never spoke to him again. He died the next day.
Damn.
Penny is permanently disabled.
Wait, why?
From the beating.
Like,
and
how?
I'm about to tell.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
So Penny is permanently disabled. She is blind in one eye. Not only is she blind, but this eye, there was clotting and pressure behind her eye. So it just like moves and squishes in her head, like putting pressure on her sinuses. She has like severe blood clots, and then other problems from the beating, but also an HIV diagnosis that she got from this man.
Jesus.
During the interview, she's like, and I, up until the day he died, I loved him. Like, I love this guy. The last part of the documentary, the guy that was like, hey, you brought up this birthday video. Do you want to tell us about it? And she's like, oh, yeah, there's this video of Jack at his birthday party. And this was like a year before he died. Like the birthday before he died, right? There's a video of him at his birthday party, and he's having like, a good ass time. And she wasn't able to go because she was in the United States. This was when she was doing the treatment.
Right.
And she was in the United States, and he made the video for her because she wasn't able to be there. And the video shows Jack like having a good time at his birthday, and it's so interesting because you watch this video of him and he isn't the violent macho weirdo. He looks like a pretty cool dude who's having fun with his friends. And she's like, that's the Jack that I would like to remember. But it's also, I don't know. It's something about a charismatic personality, because he had already given you HIV at this point, and done all these things that you didn't like. And y'all were still like talking and close enough. Like that bond was still there for you two, for him to like make a birthday
take the time to send that video because you couldn't be there.
Because you couldn't be there. And I don't know. It's just fucking crazy.
That's heartbreaking.
They interviewed her, Penny, after they went back. So they made the documentary, sent it to Penny, and then did like a follow-up after she watched the documentary. I just want to say she currently has 0 traces of HIV in her system.
You love to see it.
You do love to see it.
Wait, but how does that work? Like, does
you take medication to suppress it? You take medication every day to suppress it.
But she still like has it technically.
Yeah, if she stops taking it.
Right, but it does not have a detectable level in her system.
So in theory, she can't like transmit it or anything.
Correct.
Like
now, she also said she does hate Jack now, but until the day he died, loved him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like he put rats on your head, bitch. Like that's crazy to me.
I feel like the minute you start beating someone, I feel like I'm out.
I'm out. Yeah. There ain't no love, bro. So So she did say the one thing that Jack took away from her that she can't ever move on from was he took away her ability to be intimate, because she, one, has HIV, and she's like, I just couldn't do that to another person. I don't care how careful I am. I don't care if I don't have any traces in my system. I'm still so scared that I'm going to give this to someone else. But she's like, but also intimacy, and like I can't ever get close to another person because of the one time I did, he put rats on me.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the story. I know this was a long one, but I told you there was no fat to it. All right. Jeez. Okay.
Stacey, why don't you tell us your story for the first time and definitely not start from the beginning?
All right, so my story happens post 9/11.
Oh.
Wait, when exactly?
2004 to 2007.
Yeah,
However, it has nothing to do with 9/11. It's about Hillary Duff.
Yay! I can't feign my surprise on that one again.
Can we talk
but
about
I am
how
very
great
excited.
Lizzie McGuire was for a second?
Yeah, we can.
It was so great.
Such a great show.
Can I pause to just say the one thing I love about this podcast
What's that?
is that the words good, bad, and funny are subjective. And also, the stories that we each pick are very unique to our personalities. You
So
kind of
true.
understand
So
us
true.
Yeah,
with how we...
because I tend to pick women.
It'll always be women.
I hope you always pick women.
Because you're a big fat lesbian.
Yeah, you're super.
You're not
duper
even
gay.
fat. You're a very slim lesbian.
Thank you. I do have a muffin top. I need to get rid of it. I need to make it a
I
six
think
pack.
you look so manly the more weight you put on, and I love that for you.
I'm not going to put on more weight for you.
Oh.
I've been doing yoga. Been trying to eat healthy.
Good for you.
So she met Aaron Carter because he guest starred on an episode of Lizzie McGuire. And there was like a mistletoe and they like kissed and everything.
Was it a Christmas ep?
No, it was a Halloween episode, you fucking idiot.
I don't know when, you have your mistletoes. It could be a spring mistletoe. Who knows?
I assume it was a Christmas episode. I'm just going off of YouTube reviews. So I don't know.
Nobody's gonna understand why we're laughing.
I know. And we can just say that we fucked up the recording, and so we're redoing the story.
Almost
and
verbatim, which I feel like is mad impressive of the three of us.
I think so too. We're fucking nailing it, dude. Oh wait, I didn't say. God, I love Lizzie McGuire. What a great show. The fucking Paris movie was great.
Beans.
Goddamn Gordo.
Dude, I wanted to see that
that the
movie in
Beans guy?
theaters, but I didn't get the chance to because I was a child and I was like bad at asking for things that I wanted.
Oh, that's
sad.
Yeah. And Beans is an even Stevens dog.
You're right.
Yeah, what the hell?
Annoying. Now Beans could have been played something in Lizzie McGuire
the
because
one that had the intro of the animated version
Yes.
of her. Okay, yeah, I had a crush on the
animated
version of
the
her.
animated version was so cute. Oh my god. That show was so great because that was truly kind of ahead of its time. Like an inner monologue that's like, so good.
Yeah, very reminiscent of Scrubs.
So
or
fucking
Scrubs is
good.
reminiscent of Lizzie. Which came first?
I don't fucking know, dog, but
And
so
they
good.
had those little video games that you could play on like DisneyChannel.com. I used to always
yeah.
do that.
Yes.
I played so many Flash games.
Yeah.
I would always play those games and I would listen to like early 2000s pop music.
That sounds like, honestly, I'm sitting there with you. Like in my brain, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what that looks like.
100%. A lot of Liz Fair.
Yeah. I don't know who that is, but
Cyber
the
with
lesbian
bitches on
white
it.
woman.
Extraordinary if you'd ever get to know me.
I've never heard that song.
I still take the trash out and I burn letters that I write to myself about you. That's how the song
Oh,
is.
interesting.
Yeah.
She went to therapy one time and was like, here's the song.
Okay. It's not all about Hillary Duff. It involves Paris Hilton at one point.
What?
Mm-hmm.
It's a callback.
Callback, yeah. for
Absolutely.
sure.
I love that.
Hillary Duff meets Aaron Carter because he guest stars on Lizzie McGuire. Shortly thereafter, the two start dating. And then after a year and a half, he starts cheating on her with Lindsay Lohan.
Scandalous.
And he's quoted saying, I was dating Hillary for like a year and a half, and then I just got a little bored. So I went and I started getting to know Lindsay. So then he and Hillary broke up, and then he was just dating Lindsay. Lindsay Lohan, by the way. Sorry.
Yes.
I didn't know if I
Is there another Lindsay?
I don't
Not in my life.
Okay.
I'm sorry to all of my friends named Lindsay. There's so many of them.
I know more than one. But yeah, specifically Lindsay Lohan. Okay. So then he was, they broke up and he was just dating Lindsay Lohan.
What if it was just some regular girl named Lindsay?
Just some bitch named Lindsay.
So then, I don't know, I guess he and Lindsay at some point broke up. And then he and Hillary got back together.
No, Hillary. No.
Yeah. She's made a lot of bad choices.
I just like, just the amount that mediocre white dudes get. Because, like, even in the scale of where their careers were at this time, everybody knew who Aaron Carter was, but we all kind of just thought he was, living in his brother's shadow and a joke the entire time. And that he could play and be longed for by Lindsay Lohan.
And it's like you're already dating Hillary Duff.
Yeah.
Who's like so good looking.
So hot.
And like such a nice person.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
Yeah.
Also, she's like a billionaire.
And rich as fuck. Yeah. And like with Lindsay Lohan, like she's had money since she was like child. Yeah. So like since The Parent Trap. Like she could get anyone. Oh my God.
Yeah. Why would Lindsay? And she's probably at this point, because she's 2 years older. Yeah. Than Hillary Duff, so she's probably older than Aaron Carter. Yeah. So like, what's she doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing, Lindsay?
He's not even that good looking.
He's not. He's so mediocre.
Yeah.
Especially in comparison to Nick. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, a whisper of a shadow of what his brother is. Like, dude.
All right, so Aaron Carter and Hillary Duff get back together. They date again for a while. And then he cheats on her again with someone else. Who
regular Lindsay.
Yeah, probably just a regular Lindsay, not a famous one.
Lindsay Smith.
Yeah.
He has like his own personal like fame's gone to your head. You got to go back to your hometown, and he meets regular Lindsay.
That's how he introduces him to her to his famous friends too. This is regular Lindsay.
You have so much character growth, Aaron Carter. Okay.
All right. So they break up again forever. They never get back together.
Thank God.
All right. And okay, so you know those the shows where like they have comedians like make fun of things like in pop culture.
Sure, like I Love the 90s.
Was it The Soup?
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe Web Soup.
I don't like that you say I love the 90s because like they were particular to...
Yeah, but it was comedians making fun of things just from a particular decade. It still fits the format.
No, it doesn't. No, it literally doesn't.
It literally does.
But so anyway, there's these guys who are like talking about the Aaron Carter Hillary Lindsay situation, and they say 2 women should never be fighting over Aaron Carter. 2 men should be fighting over Aaron Carter.
It's still funny.
So funny.
That's
so funny.
2 40-year-old men should be on MySpace fighting over Aaron Carter.
Too true. Too true.
Since bitches be blaming each other rather than the person who'd be cheating on them.
Bitches.
They start getting back at each other by doing red carpet appearances at each other's movies.
Honestly, I was gonna say that's a great diss. If it's like, no, I'm gonna get back at my nemesis on the red carpet. Yeah, that's so good. That's so good.
I wish we could return to a simpler time.
It's like if we like hated someone in the comedy community and we just like put on shows like
we just started coming to their shows,
doing comedy outside of the lobby.
Oh shit, that's what Happy Balls did.
So they start getting back at each other with red carpet appearances.
Awesome.
And so Hillary Duff goes to the Freaky Friday premiere.
Great movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
With Chad Michael Murray.
Wait, who's Chad Michael Murray?
We are not doing this again.
No.
But
Chad Michael Murray is hot. It like was hot. Oh my God.
He's actually still quite attractive.
Oh my God.
He probably always will be.
He probably always will be.
Money will do that.
Like that. Like if Nazis propagate educated.
Yo,
They would be like, this is the superior.
This is our Ubermensch. Right
absolutely. Here. That is a gorgeous man.
Yeah. So. But the reason that they're together is because currently they are filming another Cinderella story where Chad Michael Murray is Hilary Duff's love interest in that movie.
That is a great movie. And can we just talk about how fucking wonderful that movie is?
Yeah. The pink shoes. Let's go.
The pink shoes are great, but also Jennifer Coolidge is in it, and she does phenomenal. And there's like a masquerade. What a good movie. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking of what's that Stanley Kubrick movie?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Phantom of
Eyes Wide
of the
Shut.
Opera.
No, you're thinking of Eyes Wide Shut.
I'm not.
But then there was also another Cinderella story with Jane Lynch, and she was also awesome as the stepmother. Yes. So now I think we're all
actually, yeah. Weirdly enough, like banger Cinderella movies, like banger live action Cinderella movies.
The Princess Diaries is an adaptation of the Cinderella story, and it's fucking amazing.
No, the Princess Diaries is an adaptation of the Princess Diaries, which is a book series.
Which is an adaptation of the Cinderella story.
No, it is not.
The Princess Diaries is an adaptation of Anne Hathaway.
Also a fucking banger goddamn movie. Oh, so good.
What, Anne Hathaway?
Dude, when people cared about what they made for teenagers, what a time to be fucking alive, man.
So great.
Black Swan was awesome.
They didn't make that for teenagers.
They didn't?
Is that with what's her face?
Natalie Portman?
That's Natalie Portman, not Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
They are the same in my mind.
Why? Because they're wonderful for different reasons.
But they also
But I will
look
say
similar.
Natalie Portman and Anne Hathaway are both aggressively
who played Catwoman?
Are both aggressively like into being an actress. Like they're both like so committed to roles and so serious as that they do such a good job, and you think they're having fun, but like if you look at any of like the behind the scenes stuff, like with Natalie Portman or Anne Hathaway, they are so dead ass. Like they are just fucking in there and committed. Like a bitch.
Yeah, if you watch
they're bitches. Like they're dicks.
If you
because
watch the
they're so
fucking
into
behind the scenes for like Star
Les
Wars,
Miserables.
I haven't even seen that, but like Star Wars, she's like, I just really submersed myself in the character. Bitch, this is the Phantom Menace.
But Natalie Portman, Natalie Portman fucking acted her ass off in that movie. She made that movie.
Jar Jar Binks is in that shit.
Even though I think she fucking saved it, and I honestly kind of like the fucking prequels. I'm sorry, I
do too.
Come on,
I like part 2 and part 3. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Stacey.
To Star Wars, I'm sorry. Like the original boring.
Have you guys seen Anywhere But Here?
This one's very familiar.
That is the best Natalie Portman movie. She's like a teenager, and she lives with her single mother, Susan Sarandon.
Oh, shit.
And she basically moves them to Hollywood, and she's like, you're going to become an actress.
Oh, I've seen this.
Also, a national goddamn treasure. Yes. Susan Sarandon.
Mm-hmm. So hot.
No?
In Rocky Horror Picture Show, she was.
Yes.
Yeah. Hilary Duff went to the Freaky Friday premiere with Chad Michael Murray.
We haven't even caught up to where we were before.
There's so much more. I'm still at the beginning. Okay. Chad Michael Murray then went on Conan, and Conan said,
"The GOAT.
I'm 58 years old, and even I know you can't bring Hilary Duff to a Lindsay Lohan premiere."
See, if like part of this is super unsettling because so many people were invested in these young adult teenage romances. Like you should not be a grown man talking about a teenage cheating scandal when you know, as a grown person, the fickle nature of teenage
that is a very fair
relationships, and you're putting all of this emphasis on it. Like this shit is gonna matter. Like,
I mean, that's what happens when you're super famous and in the spotlight.
I get that, but it's so damaging because like as a teenager, you think all of this shit really, really matters. But all the adults in your life are like, you know,
They're making fun of you.
they're like, this doesn't. And they tell you, like, this is just a moment. It won't matter. But then imagine that news media. Adults are like, your relationship does matter. And this shit
Especially
is
when
heavy.
your entire livelihood is wrapped around the media's portrayal of you.
That's just gross. Gross.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Lindsay Lohan went to the premiere of Cheaper by the Dozen, and Hillary's mom tried to get her kicked out.
What a bitch.
Yeah. But then Lindsay
Chad Michael Murray.
Lohan
Sorry.
Lindsay Lohan was like, whatever, I was invited. I don't have to leave. And then like the producers or whatever who were there, they were like, yeah, she was invited. She doesn't have to leave.
So the producers definitely invited her just to stir up.
Interesting.
I mean, I guess so.
Or maybe it's just
Allegedly.
like a SAG after thing. Like you just get, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
sure.
premiere tickets
Could be.
as like as someone else that's
I'm more inclined to believe the thing I said.
now she didn't have to go. She chose to be a cunt,
But so then they were like, if you guys don't like it, you can leave. And so then Hillary Duff and her family left.
the premiere of Cheaper by the Dozen.
Her
Yeah.
movie.
And Steve Martin was probably like, tisk, tisk.
He would just with his
Nah,
banjo.
he was just hanging out with Lindsay Lohan. is what happened. But Hillary said that they actually left because she had an early flight.
Interesting.
So
But it's like, girl, because you can't be mad. You literally just did this. And she ain't bring Chad Michael Murray with her.
right,
You did that.
What's the point?
yeah.
So you can't be mad.
Really, she should have brought Aaron Carter.
Yeah, right.
No.
But I think at this point they were both like, ugh.
Aaron Carter was
Like,
like,
it's-
out
it's
of the
not-
scene.
yeah,
They were both like, he's dating regular Lindsay now.
It's like, yeah, they were probably like, that was, like, I still don't like this bitch, but that, we both made a mistake, you know?
Lindsay Lohan hosted Saturday Night Live,
Mm-hmm.
where she made fun of Hillary Duff.
I don't remember. Like, I remember her hosting,
I do remember her hosting.
but I'm trying to think of where she, are you going to tell us more about it?
Kind of. So then one of the cast of SNL came on dressed as Hillary Duff, and she was like, our feud is so yesterday.
Was it Bobby Moynihan dressed as
Oh
Hillary
my
Duff?
God,
I can
stop
kinda picture
it.
It was a girl. I don't know which character it was, which actor it was, but then Hillary Duff was like, no, like, I'm not impressed with that. I don't think that it's an honor to be made fun of on Saturday Night Live.
Stacey's so
It's
drunk.
starting to come to a close with Hillary and Lindsay and their feud, but Hillary starts dating Joel Madden,
That name sounds familiar.
as in Joel and Benji Madden of Good Charlotte.
Oh, yeah. I do remember this. Yes.
Lifestyles of the rich and the famous.
Nice. I hated Good Charlotte, and my best friends were so into
I
Good
was
Charlotte.
kind of into it.
I feel like
A Simple Plan existed.
Simple Plan's
And-
garbage.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying. Of like the TV friendly alt pop scene, like Simple Plan was better than Good Charlotte.
that's really funny because I'm about to go there.
Oh,
So, so Lindsay Lohan's little brother was a fan of Good Charlotte, and he asked Joel Madden for an autograph. And then Hillary was like, no, wait, that's Lindsay Lohan's little brother.
I mean, come on now.
That's shitty.
And then Joel Madden told Lindsay Lohan's mom that he's not going to give that kid an autograph.
What the
What are
fuck?
we doing?
What the
What
fuck,
are we
Joel?
doing? What are we doing?
I've never met a
First of
Joel
all-
who wasn't an asshole.
That anyone's asking for that man's autograph.
The one person who wants your autograph.
Who the fuck else wants your goddamn autograph? And to call his mom, that's so stupid. You could have just not done it. What did you need to follow up for? To be an asshole.
But anyway, he says he's not going to give him an autograph until Lindsay publicly apologizes to Hillary. And then
I hope he burned, like, that kid burned all the posters and was
well, he was like, whatever, Simple Plan is better.
yeah, I want him to have, like, the best little montage moment of
Like, you know what? Yellow card kicks ass.
Switchfoot's where it's at.
And then he just, like, starts chanting, like, Simple Plan, Simple Plan. And he has, like, friends there, and they all start chanting that with him.
That's so
I like
funny.
Slipknot now.
That's so funny. Yeah, it just turns him into like a
metal kid.
weird metalhead. Starts listening to Gigi Allen. It's like it gets odd. It gets really bizarre. It starts his villain error.
So then Lindsay Lohan gets a Bratz doll made of her. And then Hilary Duff gets a Barbie.
Oh wait, I thought Hillary got the Bratz doll.
Yeah, I knew that's what you thought, but
Yeah.
that's not what I said.
I see. I'm sorry. I'm
That's
so
cool.
sorry.
That's cool. No, Lindsay Lohan is a ginger, so I guess she fits like the different ethnicities.
I mean, I've always thought that Lindsay Lohan is a super unique for a child star. Like, her look is just,
Yeah, she didn't fit the mold.
she didn't fit the mold. Iconic, honestly.
100%.
Would you guys say that Lindsay Lohan is more iconic than Hilary Duff?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like, who's
Absolutely.
still repeatedly making the news cycle and who isn't, you know?
Yeah.
And, well, granted, I mean, that's mostly because of, like, trauma related to being a child star.
But I think,
still.
I mean, I just think that as our generation, we kind of just had more exposure to Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, The Parent Trap, she was just so beloved. And then, you know, and then her teenage to adult career, I mean, it was like can't miss. You know what I mean? She just made hit after hit.
I have a thing for redheads to this day. I think
And
specifically
Hilary
because of
Duff,
Lindsay Lohan.
Hilary Duff never did anything. Like, there's just more range because Hilary Duff did what, two movies outside of
And
her long-running
she's
TV
also
show?
relatively well adjusted, all things considered. So
That's
yeah,
true.
I feel like she kind of left the scene at a certain point. For sure.
Yeah, she did.
The last thing I saw her do was The Bachelor. No, she wasn't like a contestant.
oh well, no.
She was just like on the Bachelor. She was like, "We're gonna have you guys do this thing." I don't know. I don't remember.
I also think that there's something like,
I bet she delivered it in such a girl next door.
I
type
was
of
gonna
way,
say
too.
that's probably why Lindsay Lohan is more iconic, because Lindsay Lohan served. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Hilary Duff was always like wholesome girl next door, never really rebellious
Yeah,
or
but
anything.
Lindsay
But
Lohan
Lindsay's
will take a
whole-
shit on the sidewalk for the fucking paparazzi. you
her
know?
whole look is just like, yeah, she just
Did she
serves.
do
I that was hyperbole, but
Okay.
She just looks so counter culture and like
sure.
just like a bad bitch all the time.
two sides of the same coin, really.
Speaking of being a bad bitch, so Hilary Duff's mom was like really like micromanaging everything, like just being like too much involved. And so she was like demanding too much. Like, I guess they wanted like a sequel to like the Lizzie McGuire movie, but they canceled it because Hilary Duff's mom was like demanding too much for it. And so
She's
they were
fucking
like,
up the bag.
yeah, they were like, well, never mind. We're just not going to do it then. And the same thing happened when Hilary Duff was up for the lead role in Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. And because of her mom, they were like, no, never mind. We don't want to deal with you. And they ended up giving it to Lindsay Lohan.
Also, great movie.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen
Which
that
I
one.
have on DVD.
We
It's
should
good.
watch it.
That's
You
good.
can watch it sometime.
We
yeah.
could do a review as bonus content.
That'd be awesome. I think I've only seen it like once or twice, but yeah.
And and Lindsay Lohan just does such a good job of embodying the character she plays, because the Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, like she's
She's a really good actress.
she did such a good job. It's such a good movie. Okay.
I'm honestly surprised that you've seen it.
Why?
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, I don't know. I'm just so gay. Like, obviously I would watch that movie, but like,
Yeah, but I was just into like a particular era of teen movies. So like
So you'll kind of hate watch anything at the very least.
there's some shit I won't watch. Like I don't like movies for emotion. Like I just don't like movies that are made for the purpose of being sappy.
I got this really cute dog and I got really close with this really cute dog and now I got to shoot this dog in the head.
Not since Sounder. Well, yeah, hell no. I will not. I don't like sap movies. I don't like love stories, like explicit love stories.
The Notebook.
Will not watch it.
That's
absolutely
good.
Not.
I cried.
It could be good. It's just not what, like, my life is sad. And, like, I've never needed to watch a movie to have a reason to cry. So, anyway.
All right. So, I think it's fair to say Lindsay Lohan won that.
Absolutely.
All right. Enter Avril Lavigne.
Oh, my God.
A new challenger appears. There was an episode of Celebrity Deathmatch that was Lindsay Lohan versus Hillary
Duff. There was. Interesting.
We'll link to that episode of Celebrity Deathmatch in the description.
Shut up, Jesse. You're so annoying.
All right. So I guess at some point, Avril Lavigne said that, like, her fans are super lame because they all want to dress like her. Which...
That's such a...
That's so rich.
I can vouch for it. This did happen. I remember this happening.
You said Avril Lavigne said her fans are lame.
Yeah.
Because they want to dress like her.
Yeah.
When Avril Lavigne was dressing like the idea of a punk person.
Yes.
Shut up, Avril. Fuck.
Yeah, she was like, you guys are all so lame, you need to get a life.
You want to talk about industry plans?
That's an industry plan, absolutely.
But I can vouch for this. This did happen. I remember this happening to me as a
I didn't think
preteen,
you were lying.
Dressing like Avril Lavigne.
So many bitches started wearing neckties specifically because...
Same, and I still do it to this day. Fuck Avril. Not fuck Avril Lavigne, but like I did not heed her advice.
Right.
I still do it.
Well, because it's like the thing that she brought to young girls was like the rebellious punk aesthetic and
nothing else.
And it was like something that I think we needed because we didn't have like a Madonna, like we didn't have that.
Paramore wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like she did need to exist.
What about No Doubt?
Yeah, we had No Doubt. We did have No Doubt.
What about the Breeders?
But I would say like
what about
that? Not mainstream. Like
I see
okay,
what you're
but
saying. Like,
No Doubt
on MTV.
No Doubt was, but that's not what Gwen Stefani's style was. She dressed more like a regular skater kid. It was just very plain tank top, plain and like
a real punk chick.
like a skull, skull cap. Like that was her thing. Mm-hmm. Her style was honestly more aligned with like TLC.
You know what? You're not wrong.
Like tank top, baggy pants.
Yeah.
A hat,
she would not seem out of place in a TLC video.
Right. Yeah. So, but like, yeah, what Avril was doing was different than that. Anyway.
So yeah, Avril Lavigne said this shit, and then Hillary Duff said, hey, that was really mean. You need to respect your fans. You should be honored that they want to emulate you. You should take it as a compliment.
Also, they don't buy their own clothes.
But Avril. I changed my opinion. I understand why Avril did it because she was going for a punk aesthetic. So she was just trying to be
her fans.
She was trying to be punk, ugh, you're all posers,
Yeah, she's like, I'm the only poser. You guys can't be posers because then that makes you look like a poser.
They'll find out. The breeders are watching. They'll find out.
Jello Biafra better not see this.
Okay.
So then Avril Lavigne was like, Hillary Duff, you better mind your fucking business. I'm going to come for you.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and she was like...
all the way from Quebec.
She was like, you should have known better than to fuck with someone like me.
You know what? But I bet... who would win in a fight? I think Hillary Duff.
Hillary Duff, 100%.
Destroy Avril
She's probably got a
Lavigne.
good 15 pounds on Avril Lavigne. There's no fucking way. No shot.
Yeah.
Avril Lavigne's going down in the first round. Easy.
So anyway, Avril Lavigne basically won that fight because she was like, you know, I want Hillary Duff to get slimed. So.
Oh my God! What a time! What a time to be alive! Oh my God! Dude, this story is great. Oh fuck! Okay.
I don't even know what's going on right now. Who are we talking about?
We were talking about Avril Lavigne.
Okay,
and
that's right,
Hillary
that's right.
Duff.
That's so funny. I want her to be slimed.
And I don't know if Hillary Duff ever got slimed. I feel like if she did, that probably would have been featured in the.
I think if she didn't, that's fucking criminal.
What an interesting line Avril Lavigne had to ride because she is marketed towards teenagers.
Yeah.
So she can't actually be punk as fuck.
Right.
So it's like her threat is Nickelodeon will deal with you.
But again, she can't, like Gigi Allen, she can't shit on the stage, you know?
I mean, musically she does.
She does, 100%. Directly into
But then
the
she
ears
got
of her
singing
fans.
lessons, and now she does really good. Just so everyone knows, out of anyone that I'm reporting on, right now Avril Lavigne is my number one. I've loved her since I was 11 years old, and that'll never change.
Because Stacey's a poser.
Because I'm a poser.
You're not really punk rock. I bet you buy your sweatbands from Hot Topic.
Sweatpants?
I bet Stacey's never even been in a Hot Topic.
Yeah.
I've been in a Hot Topic.
Have you ever owned a pair of Trip pants?
No.
My sister has.
Yeah, I was going to say that can't be.
You're not punk
I
rock.
just, I like, from a utilitarian standpoint, I don't.
See, but the thing
Have
is,
you
like,
ever worn stompy boots?
the reason that you liked, like I was saying, Avril Lavigne made like counterculture acceptable.
Yeah,
to
it's rebellion for
young
white bread.
white girls, but in doing that, what she accidentally did was make a whole bunch of lesbians realize they could wear ties. And like that's the thing that Stacey took from it.
Yeah.
Ties and fishnets look sick.
Well, I don't wear
But not the
fishnets,
fishnets. And what I am saying is that Avril Lavigne created studs. Like created, you know.
Avril Lavigne was an industry plant by
The
big
masculine presenting lesbian white girls were like, I can wear ties.
As a 13-year-old boy, I did think Avril Lavigne was hella hot. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't like that. I didn't like her hair. It always bothered me.
But you love
You know what?
brunettes.
When I was a kid,
I love brunettes,
had
but it
Avril
was
Lavigne
so
hair.
Too straight.
flat.
Yeah.
It was so flat.
That was the hair I had
I've seen pictures.
from like as a child.
Oh my
up
God, did you
until
have
I was
long
maybe
hair?
like 12 years old. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had very long, you know,
I cannot wrap my head
sandy
around that.
blonde.
It is-
Avril Lavigne hair.
It is interesting to look at young pictures of Stacey because it's like it's kind of reminiscent of like when we got Poppy, and it was like I can see that cute little dog under there, but there's like a whole bunch of
Does it just
fur
look like
that's
Stacey
hiding
with a
it.
wig
And
on?
it really is just like you see Stacey as Stacey is now, but it's just like hiding underneath all of this girl stuff, and it's weird. And yeah, it's weird.
You blossomed into a beautiful.
Young boy.
I really did. Yeah, I cut my hair about shoulder length when I was like 12 or 13, and then ever since then it's just been shorter and shorter.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
You need a haircut right now.
I do.
You are
It's
looking a
starting
little
to get,
shaggy.
It's starting to get a little mullety in a way that's
You're
not
starting to
good.
look a
You
little
would
Amish.
look like Paul
Like a
McCartney
little Amish
when the
boy.
Beatles were at their worst.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I've never seen it before, but goddamn. It's accurate. We're going to put a side by side in the description. Okay.
Good
Okay.
call.
Okay. Let's go.
All right, so we're veering away a little bit. So now we're talking about Paris Hilton versus Haley Duff.
Jesus
I
Christ.
forgot Haley Duff existed. See, that's what she gets for dating Aaron Carter. Her own little sibling trying to live as a ghost of a shadow of the older one. Okay.
All right.
Are we waiting? Keep going.
All right. So Paris and Haley, they were each making their debut records at the same time as each other. And little did they know, they were using the same song that like someone else had written that they both like bought to put on their record.
Yeah.
And so Paris's version of that song ended up getting leaked early.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore basically destroying Haley's entire pop singer career.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. I have something I want to share.
Go for it.
So this happened with Jennifer Lopez
Okay.
and Ashanti, right?
Okay.
Ashanti sings Jennifer Lopez's songs. Jennifer Lopez cannot sing. So Jennifer Lopez had the look and like the star power. She cannot sing.
The ass.
So when you listen to Jennifer Lopez's music, it's someone else. Like if you go back and listen, and now that Ashanti became like popular, you're like, oh my God, that was Ashanti singing, right? Okay.
That's a name I haven't heard in years. Jesus.
So Ashanti basically eventually was like, this lady is like kind of getting famous off of, I'm just going to start my own music career. But she had written a bunch of songs and they worked under the same label. So the label gave one of Ashanti's songs that she was going to release in her her debut album to Jennifer Lopez to record. And to stop Jennifer Lopez from stealing her song, she leaked the recording of that single out. So then, so Jennifer Lopez couldn't have it. Anyway,
music industry is so. Go ahead.
I say that to say I don't think it was an accident. You know what I mean?
100%.
What do you mean?
I don't think it was an accident
That song got
that
leaked.
the song got leaked.
You think that they wanted to boost Paris Hilton rather than
To just give Paris ownership of the song, because nobody was going to listen to it. Just like that's what Ashanti did. Nobody's going to listen to Jennifer Lopez because a person who can actually sing, made the song. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to say I think it's bullshit if you are Haley Duff and you want a pop career. all I'm saying is the only reason you are famous is because your little sister is a big, huge superstar.
Mm-hmm. Your big sister. Yeah.
Hillary Duff is 2 years younger than Haley Duff.
No shit.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she was pitched as Hillary Duff's younger sister, right?
I think maybe we
just assumed that.
Yeah, because that's what happened.
Because you knew
historically.
Well, that's what happened with Aaron.
Existed, and then Haley Duff came up.
Exactly, and we had seen Nick and Aaron, and whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
No,
a little Bow Wow and Snoop Dogg.
Haley was 2 years older than Hillary Duff.
And
all I'm saying,
Bow Wow.
Haley Duff, if you want to be a big pop singer, why don't you just write your own music? Why don't you actually have something to bring to the table?
How many pop stars write their own music, though?
Hey, all I'm saying is Paris Hilton was already famous. Why are you gonna fuck with that?
Here's my thing. What I find a little interesting is did you really think you were gonna get famous? Did you really think? Because you were there when your sister got famous, and they clearly picked the one
did
they
think
wanted.
That because the record execs were like, yeah, you're gonna be a fucking star, and they knew they were gonna sell one album off that last name. And
but I'm saying rationally, girl.
He's a child. Still a child.
Still. Yeah, to piggyback off your little sister's, fuck you.
Yeah.
And to not have shit to offer, come on.
No, these are fair criticisms.
So then, Haley was all pissed off because Paris's version of the same song came out before hers, therefore basically destroying any chance of her being a famous pop singer, which, as I said, she really wanted to do that. She should have probably just written her own music. Yeah, it had like actually been talented and actually like put a record out. you know?
Did Haley break one of Paris's laptops?
That's a good question. I don't even know if they'd ever even like met at this point. Okay, so now Haley and Paris got this feud going on because Paris basically stole her song, which wasn't either of their songs to begin with. So like, who gives a fuck? And then The Simple Life was also happening around the same time, and so Hillary and Haley made a movie called Material Girls. Which is basically the same exact premise of The Simple Life. Where two rich girls who don't know how to do anything end up having no money and they have to figure shit out.
You're blowing my fucking mind.
That's not. That movie is also. It's not really bad. I kind of like that movie. It's.
I haven't
it's
seen
fine.
it, but it looks good.
It's. I like it. I like it.
We should watch
that's so
that
crazy.
too.
I didn't even think about. Because I thought it was like a kind of a spoof off of it just because the concept of A Simple Life was so popular. I didn't know about like the
was like
drama.
a response too.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Fascinating.
I mean, they had to do something to redeem her, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention the only other thing that I think Haley Duff ever did that was good was she played the popular girl in Napoleon Dynamite.
She did.
Holy shit.
Interesting.
Yeah. There were some emails between Haley and Kim Kardashian.
I thought you were going to say
Jesus, dude.
Hillary Clinton.
This is like a who's who
Of mediocre early 2000s talent.
of, building a name off of someone else. Right. God.
So, yeah, Kim Kardashian had been, like, hanging out with Paris Hilton a whole lot. They were good friends. And
she was teaching her the model.
Yeah, and they were all hating on Haley Duff because Haley Duff was all PO'd that Paris Hilton stole her pop career. Mm-hmm. And so Haley wrote to Kim and basically just said, like, hey, like, I'm sick of all the drama. I want to move past this. Can we be friends? And Kim was like, yeah, totally. Don't listen to Paris. She's a stupid lesbian.
Fair.
Honestly, I love this. Like, and also, can you imagine having Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton? That to me would be like my nightmare Mean Girl situation.
100%.
Can you imagine those two?
I'd rather kiss myself.
Dude.
Okay, so then Haley was like, oh my God, yes, totally. Like, let's hang out. And Kim was like, oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot I don't hang out with horses.
Oh my God.
And then she called her a slut, and she was like, also, I'm busy.
That just sounds like a text chain between me and Lynette, though.
It's the also I'm busy for me. Like, 1, you're a horse. 2, you're a slut. Also I'm not free that day.
to do that day. I don't...
Just check my calendar. Turns out you're a horse. Like, that's so good. So funny. Oh, and it's like so classic Mean Girl. Reel them in. Casually make fun of the mutual in the situation, and they'd be like, ha, got you, bitch, you horse ass. Horse slut.
That's so great. That's so great. I think that the winner of this entire story is Kim Kardashian.
For sure, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God, that is so funny. Oh, I forgot. I don't hang out with horses anymore after the accident. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, God damn. Okay.
All right. So, in conclusion, where we're at now, Hillary Duff is now married to, I don't know, whoever, and has kids. And Joel Madden is also married with kids to Nicole Richie, who co-starred with Paris Hilton on A Simple Life.
City Girls up 1,000.
I forgot about
this. Was a messy tale, and I love it. Oh my God!
The
what a
Simple
good
Life was
story.
a whole thing. I forgot about that. Gary Coleman was on there.
Yeah.
And they wanted him to say the line, and he got real mad.
Yeah. What a time to be alive. What
Right?
a time to be alive.
You know what's crazy though is I was alive and I missed all of that. I just learned about it in the last week.
That's crazy. I mean, you had
That
other
was
problems.
truly
to
the
deal with.
golden age of
And
television.
they probably didn't get A Simple Life in Iowa because it was like so offensive to the.
No, I definitely knew
To the
it was
people
a thing, but
there.
I've never seen it. I need to find it and watch it. I bet it's awesome.
That was good.
So my story is about a man named Albert Hoffman and his bicycle. So Albert Hoffman was born in Switzerland, and he began working for a large pharmaceutical company in the mid-1930s. He was hired to perform tests on this fungus called ergot, which is a fungus that grows specifically on like wheat and rye, like bread, shit like that, and it causes hallucinations. There's actually a theory that ergot is what caused the Salem witch trials. He was doing tests on ergot to try and develop new analeptics, there we go, which is just a drug that stimulates like respiration and blood production.
Can you brought up that it could have caused the Salem witch trials?
Yeah, sure.
I find it super interesting, like when we talk about horrors in history, we never bring up, people were like lead paint was a thing. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
some shit that truly fucks with your psyche
But it's just a lack of scientific knowledge.
can absolutely contribute
Yeah.
to
Well, like a gas leak, all of a sudden your house is haunted,
right.
Definitely.
Exactly.
So he was testing ergot to develop new analeptics, which again stimulates respiration and blood production, because there were a lot of motherfuckers bleeding out in Europe in the late 1930s, early 1940s for some reason. I did not see why in my research. It was a joke. It was because of World War II.
I was going to say like because stabbings.
Yeah, no, not at all. It was because of Nazis.
Yeah, I see.
While during doing research, this was on November 16th of 1938, Albert Hoffman burst synthesized a compound known as lysergic acid diethylamide 25, or LSD.
Did you practice that in the mirror before?
I did not. I just know it off the top of my
Oh,
head.
because you're such a druggie.
Yeah, because I'm a fucking degen. LSD was not found to be useful, though, in his research, so it was set aside. They also noticed that it made rats. The rats they tested were incredibly uneasy. So they were just like, yo, this is trash. Let's throw it out. But as World War II was winding down, a whole 5 years fucking later, by the way, it's kind of crazy how long that shit went on. He started thinking more and more about LSD 25, and he decided to revisit it again exactly 5 years to the day. And he resynthesized it, but while in the process of resynthesizing it, for some reason did not put on rubber gloves, and he absorbed some of it through his skin. And it made him feel weird, but not so weird he couldn't carry on with his duties, right? And he just kind of wrote it off. But 3 days later, Hoffman is back in the lab and decides to just ingest 0.25 milligrams or 250 micrograms of LSD.
I don't
Now,
understand measurements.
For reference,
Okay.
a standard dose of LSD is 50 micrograms, give or take. So that he took roughly 5 hits of acid. Not knowing what the shit.
Yeah.
So, God, he is in for a fucking ride.
Yeah.
Soon after.
Dude, he touched the Lord.
Oh, you just wait. Soon after, Hoffman began to feel incredibly uneasy and started to detect weird changes in his perception, right? Walls were breathing, shit like that. So he asked his lab assistant to escort him home.
Oh. I thought you were going to say, he asked his lab assistant, hey, can you take a hit of this? So
try this out for me. Does this make you feel weird? So they ride home on a bicycle. And as Hoffman was riding home...
It was 2 different bicycles, so he was
they
just
each
like...
had their own. It was not a tandem bicycle.
Yeah, just
ride with
check,
me. I'm going to go home.
Yeah, make sure
I
I'm
got
okay.
too high at
I
work.
see.
You know, we've all been there.
We've all been there.
But on Hoffman's ride home, his condition declined very quickly, and he was gripped by paranoia. And Hoffman, on that bicycle trip, started a much longer journey, which is the first ever bad acid trip.
And, it's like, because whenever you're a person on drugs, like psychedelics in particular, or just like really strong edibles, the thing that you can do to bring yourself down from a bad trip is to remember that you're on drugs. Be like, oh yeah, I'm on drugs. Oh yeah, I'm on drugs.
But Hoffman
he
doesn't
has
no idea he's on drugs.
He's on drugs.
He has no idea what's going on right
so
now.
I bet he's like, yeah. Good grief.
He is. So by the time they got back to Hoffman's house, he's in full-blown existential crisis. To the point where he is convinced his next-door neighbor is a witch. And he is convinced that she has put a curse on him, and he has poisoned himself with the LSD. Now, fearing permanent psychosis, the assistant decided to call a doctor. Great call, I think, on the assistant's part. When the doctor gets there, the doctor cannot find a single thing wrong with him, aside from the fact that his pupils are fucking huge. And he's like, yeah, I think you're going to be fine, dog. And so Hoffman calms down. Oh, shit, I fucked up. So when I have to read a quote real quick.
Okay.
When Hoffman first took the LSD, this was when he was resynthesizing it. He absorbed it through his skin. This was a very small dose, right? He wrote, quote, I was affected by a remarkable restlessness combined with a slight dizziness. At home, I lay down and sank into an unpleasant, intoxicated-like condition characterized by an extremely stimulated imagination. In a dreamlike state, with eyes closed, because I found the daylight to be unpleasantly glaring, I perceived an uninterrupted stream of fantastic pictures, extraordinary shapes with intense kaleidoscopic play of colors. After about 2 hours, this condition faded. So this was before he even dosed himself with that insane
amount.
But
right? and also because Hoffman is a scientist, and generally most scientists are very they have a particular personality type, trying to make meaning and understand what's going on.
They just want to know.
So I say like he's probably just a not chill guy. You know what I mean? So like I imagine my son, like if my son ever did psychedelics, he'd probably really he would feel uncomfortable and really dislike it, because things need to make sense to him. And
I think he would have a very similar reaction.
Yeah, psychedelic experiences, if you can't find the cause, an effect, like through line, it would probably be like...
We'll get there. We will 100% get there. So he was afraid he poisoned himself, fearing permanent psychosis, blah, 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 blah. So when the doctor said, yo, you're fine, Hoffman calmed the fuck down.
Because that's what he needed. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
That personality
He just needed to
type.
hear he was okay.
He needed that reassurance, yeah.
And then after he calmed down, I need your phone.
What?
I sent you the second quote. Because I knew my phone was about to die, so I sent you the second quote.
Okay.
You know my password.
I know your password, but...
That's weird that he knows your password.
I'll tell you later.
We're best friends.
I can't get the password
okay.
key to pull up, though, because it's an iPhone. And I'm poor. I don't know how to work iPhones.
The touch doesn't work on there because
this is a poor.
This is a poor hand.
I can identify. I don't know how to work anything other than iPhones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the exact opposite of my problem.
Exactly.
So after the doctor told him he was fine, right, he started to calm down, and he was just overcome by this wave of, like, joy and, like, peace. And later he wrote about it and said, quote, "Little by little, I could begin to enjoy the unprecedented colors and plays of shapes that persisted behind my closed eyes. Kaleidoscopic, fantastic images surged in on me, alternating, variegated, opening and then closing themselves in circles and spirals, exploding in colored fountains, rearranging and hybridizing themselves in constant flux."
Cool. Cool.
And that's the story of Hoffman's first trip. After that, he came down and he was fine. And now every year, the anniversary of Hoffman's trip is celebrated as Bicycle Day. By hippies and degens alike.
What?
And I think that's really fucking beautiful.
Heard.
Yeah. And that, again, that day is April 19th, the day before, the weed day, which I think is kind of neat.
That's so interesting to me.
What I think is...
because I've known a lot of hippies, and all they do is talk about their hippie nonsense.
But
and
they've never
I've
mentioned
never
Bicycle Day.
heard of bicycle. But I do tune them out a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really interesting because Hoffman decided to revisit that chemical because he just had an inkling that there was something special about it and that he was on the verge of something, right? And now, only now, do we, he was 100% right, but we only just now are realizing that because of the way the LSD was tied to, the counterculture in America in the 1960s. And because of that, the way that the government, their reaction to it, it was labeled as a Schedule I substance. There was no
even
research.
Before that, we were trying to use it to do stupid, freaky, deaky
doing
things.
Something, the CIA.
We're
was
I don't
to
know.
use it
Can we use this for the military?
for fucking espionage?
Is it
or
a
something.
truth serum?
But really, he made massive breakthroughs in the field of psychology, and we're only just now beginning to scratch the surface of what he accomplished.
And it is kind of a shame because we do now we do know the powers of psychedelics in treating addiction and mental illness, but it sucks too because we took so long to actually delve into that people have your layperson, you're not scientist, has been trying to figure it out. So then we have people who get eaten up, by psychedelics.
Just
fly
fried.
too close
Absolutely
to the
fried,
fly
like
too close
Icarus,
to the sun.
100.
You have people who don't understand their mental illnesses already, and then add psychedelics on top of that and have really bad psychotic breaks.
Yeah, I mean, if you have something like schizophrenia, LSD is not going to help you. But if you have something like borderline personality disorder, maybe, again, but we're not health professionals.
That's the thing. What I'm saying is that it took us so long to unpack it. It's had such a good impact on people, but it's all trial and error. Yeah.
There's no science there.
Well,
there's gentleman science
in the street whereas it could be so helpful to so 100%. Many people. And
I have the most profoundly impactful. I don't want to use the word religious experience, but it's the closest
I get
word that I have
spiritual,
for it. It has been on LSD. I sincerely believe that I would not have gotten off of heroin if it weren't for acid, because I took a lot and I just saw where I was fucking up and where my fuck ups were affecting me in my day-to-day life, and I made some fucking changes,
and probably also connected it to
trauma,
because there's also this thing with psychedelics where you do feel how your actions actually affect other people.
Well, yeah,
And you feel a connectiveness to, and so it's like you
because it
drugs,
diminishes your ego. You're allowed to see
right, and
people
like addiction makes you selfish
100%.
because addiction is a selfish thing. And so like if you take something that lets you understand the connectivity, like just break that cycle in your brain, like that can be extremely helpful.
100%.
But I also would like to say, along with the dude and LSD, you know, there's so many, you know, other cultures, like not American cultures, Native Americans, Muslim, you know, culture, or like all of these other cultures that have done psychedelics for forever and understood the benefit of it, but we just bullheadedly don't give a fuck.
And those cultures,
and
a lot of those
devalue.
cultures were using variations of LSD.
Yes.
Right? They were just extracting them kind of in a more holistic, not in a lab setting.
Right.
And Hoffman was the first person to do so and document it in a lab setting. And you're right. I think there is something of note there that we didn't take it seriously until a white person did.
Because we have not even that. It's just like the amount of value our like a colonial society just threw away because they thought everyone was lesser than them. Like it's taken us so long to make so much progress because we just throw away other people's, like we throw away their culture, pretend that it's less than, and so it's like so much insight and so like and so much shit you can learn.
Rich white kids traveling to the global south to take ayahuasca.
Yeah, exactly,
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So is that it?
That's it. That was my story.
That's a very good story. I really didn't know about Bicycle Day, and honestly, it's so wholesome. And I bet there's like a lot of cute, like old timey fan art.
Like probably just a Hoffman tripping bulls.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot imagine trying to ride a bike on one
when
end of acid.
When the world is opening up for you for the first real time.
He talks about like he experienced ego death. I did not dip into that, but he talks about how his ego melted away and he saw his own body lying on the ground while he was suspended from space, and he just felt connected to everyone and everything. But it was terrifying. It was horrible.
I can understand. Like I said, like I can imagine if my son did
too much empathy.
And he didn't even know.
He had no idea.
That's what was happening.
He could not prepare himself. He
Absolutely
had no context for what he was about to experience.
Yeah, he walked so a lot of hippies could run.
He also continued to he would talk about it a lot. He said that he does not feel that he discovered LSD. LSD called out to him. And there's so much fucking kismet in the story,
Actually,
you know?
That's so funny.
There's so much serendipity.
Like, he really did. He was like the first hippie. Because they all say the same shit.
Well,
but
that's the thing. I think there's some merit there, though.
It's a trope because that is what the experience makes you feel like.
Yeah.
But when you say it out loud, it is stupid and cliche.
He was very... very, very sympathetic to like to the counterculture in the U.S. in the 1960s because everything had become so commercialized and so consumeristic, and everybody had become so detached from like the planet and nature, right? But like LSD, when you take it, he said like it returns your connection to the spirit, and that's how he described it. And like this man's a fucking scientist.
Yeah, I mean. It does kind of so,
and I'm not a fucking crunchy dude,
right.
You know. I believe in science, but like I feel like there's something, you know.
But sometimes I know for a fact that hippie psychedelic culture, it does make you feel connected, but I feel like there's like a subset of hippies.
They're too connected.
It actually makes them feel too profound.
Oh, for sure.
And then
And you're
they
just a
start
burnout.
getting like a weird God complex.
Yeah, definitely.
And like that's like all the like not all the holistic healers, but a lot of them
For
they
sure.
become very culty and be like, I am the universe.
Yeah.
But like in a like I am the universe way,
Yeah,
and
but
not
not
like
in a cool
we
way.
are the
Yeah.
universe way.
Well,
you know?
what's the point in doing massive amounts of psychedelics if you don't also spend time in reality?
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like, because it's supposed to connect. It's supposed to ground you when you come back down. You
Right.
know? So what's the point?
But I think that there's something to be said about the inherent urge of Caucasians to manifest their destiny everywhere, you know,
Yeah,
and then they just use that as a tool to reaffirm to them their specialness, and it is a bad vibe.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that sucks because that's not what it should be.
I mean, I don't like taking acid with other people for that exact reason. Because usually the people I buy acid from are not the kind of people that I want to do acid with.
Yeah, it sucks the people that have access to the acid.
I do acid like once a year, usually on or around my birthday. As I feel like it's a nice time of year to like wipe the slate
Isn't
clean.
that old age though? Like, it's my birthday.
No, not even. I just
Let's get
I
weird.
don't believe in like New Year's resolutions, so I do birthday resolutions instead. I read somewhere that that they're more likely to stick. And like acid is just part of that. It's just part of tabula rasa. You know, it just wipes the slate clean, and I'm good to go for the year. And for a few months, I feel normal. All right, you guys have been listening to The Good, the Bad, and the Funny. Once again, I am your host, Jesse McIntyre. Lynette, go.
I'm your other host, the bitch that don't get booked nowhere.
And Stacey Stark, go.
And I'm your other host, the one who always talks about women because I'm a lesbian.
Let's go. Have a great night, guys.